Welcome all. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about the singleton design pattern or how we can create a singleton class in Java. So for that purpose, we have to understand the singleton class. What is singleton class? By default, we know that we can create multiple objects of a class and also we can create the multiple references of a class. So in singleton class, the condition is that we can have only one object or one instance of a class at a time. In short, you can say singleton class only allows the single object creation at a time. And if we try to create multiple instance of the class, every time our new variable or new reference will point to the same instance which we have already created first time. Now let's see it practically. This is my employee class, and in employee class, I have suppose a property name. So now let me show you that we can create the object of this class or not. So by default, let me do one thing. I have a class pradeep.java and here we have a main function. So let me first detach the class so that you can see it parallelly. So this is my employee class and this is my Pradeep class. So in Pradeep class, I will try to create the object of a employee class. So you can see, first see that by default, how many objects we can create and how many references we can create. So let me create first object new. So we can create the object in this way, new employee. So I've created one object. Now I can create another objects also like new employee. So I've created two objects. In this way, I can create three objects. So currently you can say I can create multiple objects of my class. So let me create three references so that we can see. And also I can show you that these three objects are three different objects or no. So even I created one reference. Okay. And let me create second E2 and let me create this third E3. So first of all, let me show that I've created three objects here, E1, E2, and 3. And let me show that these three are different or not. So for that purpose, let me print the addresses of these objects, even dot, and we can say we can use this method hash code to print the addresses of the object. So this is first, this is second, and let me print third. So now let me run it and see that what addresses we are getting here. Okay, now let me open the console also. This is the console. So here we can see that we have got three objects, and for three objects, it is showing me the different addresses here. Okay, so you can see it means E1, E2, E3 are not the same object. These are three objects in my program. Okay, now see that how I'm able to create the object because I'm calling the constructor of this class new employee. Okay, so in singleton class, I have to make my employee class in such a way so that we cannot create multiple objects of the class. Every time whenever I will try to create the object of a class or I will try to get the object of a class, my reference variable will point to the same object. So for that purpose, how we can achieve it? First of all, we see that how to make a class singleton. There are two conditions for that. One condition is that make a constructor private. Make a constructor private. If you make the constructor private, then nobody can outside your class will create the object of your class. So let me first of all do this thing. So I will do one thing in my employee class. We know that by default, I have a constructor which is by default available. But let me show you that constructor also by explicitly writing it here. So this is my default constructor, which is by default available here, but I have written it so that you can see that how this is available here. So in this way, it is available here. And that's why you are able, it is public. So that's why you are able to create the objects of this class. Now see, first of all, for the singleton class, I will make it private. private. So when I will make it private, you will see I'm start getting the error on my. It means the constructor employee is not visible. So it means now I cannot create the object in this way. I cannot write this code. So this is not possible. So let me remove the object. Left reference are there. So let me remove the object. So it means I cannot create the object in this way. Okay. So now this is the first condition, that if you want to create a singleton class, you have to make your class private. Second, write a static method that has the return type object of this singleton class. So here what they want to say, that because I've created the constructor as a private, it means now I cannot use the new method. Outside this class, I cannot use the new employee constructor. I cannot call it to create the object. So how it is possible? So I have to do one modification in my class. I will do one thing. I will create a public method here. Public method here. Like you can say, you can give any name, get instance. And the purpose of this method is that nobody can outside this class will create the object, but I will try to create the object within the same class. So I will create this method get instance, and the purpose of this method is to return the object of this class. So for that purpose, first of all, do one thing, create a reference of employee class within the same class. Like I will do public static and employee. So I have created a reference here E, and what will happen whenever somebody will call this function will return the object. So how it will return the object? First of all, I will make the return type of this function employee, so that whenever somebody call, this function will return the object of a employee class, and that is already here. So I will do one thing. I will write E equal to new employee. So now what will happen? And let me return this one, return, return, and let me return. So now when somebody will call this function get instance, because it is a public function, so outside this class, anybody can call this function. Okay. But the thing is that if they want to call this function, they have to create the object of this class. So how we can get rid of this thing, that a person can call this function without creating the object of employee class? I will make this function static. Okay. Now it means anybody can call this function. Anybody can call this function outside this employee class without creating the object of employee. So here we can write employee even equal to employee dot get instance. So in this way, we can create the object. Like one object here I've created. Same thing, whenever somebody want to create the object, they can write this line of code. E2 equal to same and E3 equal to same. So now we have tried to get the instance 3 times. So you will see here, when I will try to do this thing, what will happen in the code. So you will see here. Let me run it. Now see that every time also you are getting the different type of object. Means whenever you are calling, actually it is creating the different type of object. So for that purpose, you have to do one thing. Whenever you are calling get instance, actually this code is running equal to new employee. See, it means every time it is creating the new. So we can do one thing. I can wrap this code in a condition if my object is null. When my object is null, means when it will run the first time, this object will be run, then only it will create the object. So first time when the code will run, it will only create the object. Otherwise, it will simply return the E here. So now you can see if I will run it here again, what will happen? You will see the address of the. Now you can say it is returning the address of every object same. So I created 3 object here, E1, E2, and 3, and the addresses of all the objects are same. So let me explain you again that whenever you want to make any class as a singleton, in that case, the first condition is that explicitly you have to make your class constructor as a private, so that nobody can create the object outside this class. First thing. Second, because we have to create the object anyhow, but we have to stop the multiple creation of objects. So I will do one thing. We will create a function get instance, and it will return the employee object. And within this function, we will write a code that if our object, we will create a reference here employee E, and we will say that if employee is null, then we will create the object of this class and will return it. So what will happen when first time anybody will call this function? It will check, oh, E equal to null. Yes, first time it will null. So it will create the employee object and will return it, like it is happening in this first case. Now what will happen when somebody will again try to call this function employee.get instance? So this time it will come to this code get instance, it will check employee is null. So because automatically we have created the object in the first time, so it will not go into this line. So definitely going to this line return E, and it will return the same object which we have created previously. So in this way we have achieved the singleton design pattern. I hope you like the video. If you have liked, you can click on the like button. And if you have not subscribed my channel till now, you can subscribe it. Thank you.